Hi there, I'm Rohit then.
I'm T.H. Culhane.
I'm Amit then.
Hi, I'm Wanda Marushi. Emily Anderson.
And this right here is a pretty neat integrated solution of a decentralized network of biogas digesters connected with zip lines to move material between them. And that material can be food or agricultural waste and residue, or finished fertilizer, rich slurry coming out of the biogas digesters. This is looks especially useful for places that are hilly and hard to access with anything but foot. And this allows for really efficient and easy transport of materials back and forth between digesters along this network. These are really cool.
We just tested it for the first time in Socotrán, Colombia, and we were taking fungus-infected cacao pods out of the plantation where there's no big trees to anchor a zip line, and it's too expensive and too difficult way up in the cloud forest to bring poles. And our instinct that we invented here at the Rosebud Continuum with our students from Mercer University and USF, Tell College of Global Sustainability, is it might be true that a 1-ton tank of slurry would provide sufficient ballast to hold the zip line taut enough without tipping over. And we tried a lot of experiments down here. We found that the only way to make it work was to get the line high enough using a couple of 2x4s with an anchor bolt. And then we put anchor bolts down at the bottom so that we could vary the length, so we could get different heights by squeezing it together. And leaning it, and we were very skeptical that this would work. When I called the company that makes the zip line, they were like, dude, don't even try this. And then we did calculations using engineering programs, and they suggested that once you get over 80 kilograms, if the weight is in the center of the line, it will create a lever arm that's strong enough to lift the world, right? I mean, a lever at a sufficient distance can lift an enormous amount of weight. And so you don't want to put a person on this. Maybe an 80 kilogram person like me could ride it. And I have, I'll show you, but above that, the whole thing could tip over.
I can see
so
that.
this is not for people, and it really is contingent on where you're applying the weight.
Yeah.
So that's the lever.
Right.
Certainly when we're up on this side here, and this is already almost 20 kilograms, if I add my 80 to it, you know, you'll see that it's doing fine, right?
Wow.
Not very fine.
It's not tipping over, but it's not for people.
Right.
But it is for agricultural commodities, for the infected pods, for coffee beans, for good pods, for bringing manure up and down, anything you want to do.
Right.
And the idea is that if you were to hook yourself on with a carabiner, then as you're walking down the mountain, if you slip, your weight, see,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
So this acts as a safety line,
Ballast.
as ballast while you're taking this down. But as you saw from the video, we've sailed it over the cow pasture at a considerable height,
Yep.
and it just went passively.
Yeah.
But we had a rope on it so you could pull it back up.
Right.
But if you were having to take some of it just to get down the hill, we might have these in certain places so that strategically you can walk without falling down.
You can support while you're
Certainly
at
you
it,
can
yeah.
pull it this way, and there is enough there that you can recover from it. And then we'll want to put the stepping stones. So
Yep.
we need researchers. We need to know if the fungus can be destroyed by the biodigester, because wouldn't it be nice if you could go and harvest the good cacao pods and send them down the zip line, and then take the bad ones and put them right in, take your machete, chop them up, put them inside, and then know that the fertilizer here doesn't have any fungus anymore. That's a first research question.
Right.
If it's weakened, it could then just sit in a tub, be oxygenated or be exposed to UV, still become useful in situ. If that doesn't work, then yeah, we'd send it down and out of the forest.
Right.
Could still use that fertilizer on crops that are not infected by the fungus, that are far away from the plantation. So you're never losing your nutrients. You close the metabolic rift. So you're always keeping nutrient cycling. So there's a lot of potential for a Google Science Fair project. Tell our friends in Colombia how we got to know each other. what you were doing.
We TH and us met at the Google Science Fair in 2012, and he was a judge at the Science Fair. We met there and really hit it off, and decided to go out to Swaziland a little over a year later after the Science Fair.
Eswatini.
Now it goes by Eswatini, and we built more than 2 of these beautiful IBC biodigesters out there at a backpackers lodge and a small little farm, and that was a great learning experience, and really.
And your part of the project was also very innovative.
That's right. Yeah, I integrated a water efficient toilet with the biogas digester there to kind of have the human waste go straight into the biodigester.
Without as much water.
Yeah. And you had a unique pump you made out of local plumbing parts.
That's right. Yeah, a little piston pump to get the vacuum going and flush with as little water as possible.
That's what you got your award for.
That's right. Yeah.
And then we decided to integrate their award with that of Sahiwe and Bonke, whose grandfather had the farm that we built at, and they were from now, what do you call it now? Eswatini. And that's ironic, because I told you that one of our students got a Fulbright. That student was from Eswatini, who then got denied by the administration for choosing the wrong concentration climate, which is no longer in alignment with U.S. government priorities.
That's right.
So we lost a student from Eswatini. It would have been a nice thing, because they thought, wow, she's coming all the way from Swaziland, Eswatini, and she'll be our student. We'll be able to connect with her. Right. So that won't happen this year, unfortunately. But yeah, this kind of international camaraderie from all ages, because you guys were you were in high school.
Yeah.
How old were you?
I was 17.
And you were
22.
22 doing your master's. Yeah. And you hadn't met your wonderful wife at that point yet.
No.
You guys hadn't met yet, so this was in the past. And to keep